5 prisoners of Iran have just been returned to U.S. soil. My colleague Josh Letterman has been reporting on this, and one of the details that really jumped out at me was that one of them, Siamak Namazi, who's been imprisoned in Iran for 8 years, he said that one of his first things that he wants to go do is go to the Apple store and buy a new iPhone, because when he went into confinement, the iPhone 6S was the phone that he owned. And I was thinking to myself, what would it be like to try to explain to this guy what the last 8 years in tech have been like? You know, I was looking back, right? 2015 is when he's been there for 8 years, right? So 2015, that's Tesla rolling out its autopilot system. That's the Apple Watch. Maybe, you know, he might be excited about that. That was the debut of Google's TensorFlow system, which is their platform for doing the computing that goes with AI. But then you'd have to explain to him. So you'd sort of say, like, here are the embers that you saw, and then from there you've got, I mean, just imagine, right? Crypto, you know, Bitcoin was already a thing, but cryptocurrency, right, in its incredible fluctuation, kapow. But then SBF, the effective altruism movement, and then the spectacular collapse of Sam Bankman-Fried's exchange, FTX. Then you've got Tesla, right, and autopilot, very interesting, very cool, but has had a bunch of safety problems. And yet also the market share of that company, right, has grown and grown and grown, and we're in this big EV moment right now. So big that the electrical grid may not be able to handle it in the next few years. You then have, AI, right? The breakthrough, it wasn't until several years after he went away that the big breakthroughs in neural networks happened, and the large language models that gave rise to generative AI, right? All of that, just the last few years, you'd have to explain that to him. You'd have to explain, right, the rise of not just Tesla and Elon Musk's efforts there, but then Starlink, which I think would have been a big thing to explain to him. That you'd have to explain now there's 4,500 satellites in the sky, representing the largest single constellation of satellites anybody owns, and it's owned by this private individual. So big and important that the Ukrainian war effort relied on it, and it turns out Elon Musk pulled the plug on them for a moment. I wonder what Namazi will make of that. And then, of course, you got to explain Elon Musk buys Twitter and so forth. Maybe he won't care about that so much, right? I bet your perspective is pretty clear. Your priorities are pretty clear once you've come out of an Iranian facility. The Facebook leaks. I mean, there's so many things you would have to point out and explain. The incredible link between mental health in young people and the rise of social media. You'd have to explain TikTok. TikTok didn't exist when he was around, when he went away. And then incredible medical breakthroughs. There's all kinds of good news there. But man, I am exhausted just thinking about, like, what's it going to be like? Who's going to sit down and try to explain the world to him in this time? I think that part is really interesting.